right. For the dozens in attendance and the hundreds watching around the world, it is time, my friends. It's Wednesday night. How you guys doing?
What is up, y'all?
So, a little bit of a configuration. Our buddy Will decided to give us some advice. Big Willie Dubs Gaming decided to give us some advice and put our big ugly mugs right up on the big picture where you guys can see us. So, yeah.
He's looking at you, kid.
He's looking at you. Exactly. So, we're gonna sit back and relax. We don't even have the view counter. I'm actually gonna turn the view counter off. But for those of you that are in the know, your boys see you. But for those that are seeing us for the first time, this is voice acting.
That's right.
We take games that have a lot of dialogue and we act it out on screen for you, the general public, to enjoy. And this time around, now, I will tell you that the last several weeks, the last several months, we have been playing a series of games called Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. And we've had an absolutely tremendous time with all three main games of the series. And, Andrew and I were standing around in the family room, in the living room, just going, what the heck are we going to do next? Because, that took a lot of time, but it also, it also worked out for us. So the next question, obviously, is what's next on the menu? And we ultimately came to this decision that we will now turn our attention to a game that is near and dear to my heart, and I've beaten before. It is the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles on the Nintendo Switch. As you can see in the the demonstration down here, we're just about ready to fire it up. We're going to be turning the clock back about 100 years or so to Victorian England. And our adventure will begin in, I don't want to say feudal Japan, but the Empire of Japan at the turn of the century.
That's right.
And, obviously there's going to be some murder cases here and there, and there will be some intrigue. So this one's going to be kind of an appetite whetter, and we might be able to get through this in 2 hours. Who knows? But, folks, all I would ask you to do is sit back, get your tray tables up, because it is time to go for a ride. But before we do, let's just open our bottles of water here. Package, what time is it?
Time to get bombed.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Yes.
Gotta hydrate.
Absolutely. Gotta hydrate every now and then if you want to keep your voice healthy.
And I gotta tell you, we've been off pop now for about 18 days now. I mean, I will confess that there was one day out of the entire month so far where I accidentally downed a solo cup size of Diet Coke. I was just during a lunch meeting. It was just right there, and I absentmindedly poured it. But that's the only piece of soda that I have had in the past 18 days. And I got to tell you, I feel pretty good for it.
Yeah, I didn't even have a single drop.
He hadn't had a drop. This kid's perfect. He's batting 1,000 here.
Not a drop.
So, all right. Well, I mean, come on. Let's quit, monkeying around here. Let's get in here. Let's get to it.
Okay. And away we go.
To our fine folks at Capcom, we salute you.
Yeah, you guys make some of the best games out there. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. This game supports an autosave feature. Please do not turn the console off whilst the icon is displayed at the top of the screen. You got it, boss.
TMI.
TMI. Come on.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Yeah. Look at that background.
Yep, that looks pretty nice.
And look at this. Listen to this music.
Yeah, it's the music, the soundtrack. Guys, I listen to the soundtrack of the Ace Attorney series, Phoenix Wright series. It's great. This soundtrack blows that out of the freaking water.
It took an actual orchestra of musical instruments to pull this off.
And it's tremendous.
Oh my gosh.
Tremendous.
If there was any opportunity for us to attend like a concert featuring the music of this game, we'd be all in.
Yeah, we absolutely would be.
There may have been a concert or two featuring music of
I
such
guess there
games.
was. I mean, it's part of the special contents. But let's get into it.
Let's go.
Select adventure. So we want the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, and we're gonna have a new game here, and we're diving right in, kids.
Take it away.
We might.
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, and some was swept away by the tide.
Indeed. Whoa!
What the?
Uh-oh. Gunshot.
No, it can't be.
But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
Uh-oh.
Talk
about bad timing.
You bet, brother.
Episode 1. The Adventure of the Great Departure.
Bienvenue à la Cannonball.
All right, here we go. 22nd of November, 8:43 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendant's Antechamber number 5. Still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate?
What?
Oh, no, nothing.
Save your glass, murderer.
Huh? Sorry. My name is Ryunosuke Naruto. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial.
That's enough. He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes. And until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. Technicalities. Look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. And yet, I still seem to know better than you, our court officer, should behave. Right, Ryunosuke?
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry.
What are you apologizing to me for?
Oh, No, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry.
There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Though I must say, you've been all over the newspapers those past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you?
Of course not. You have to believe me. I didn't do it. I could never murder someone.
Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high.
You mean...
I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke.
Kazuma Soji, my best friend. Also in his second year at Yume... Also in his second year at Yume University. But he's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive, considering he's still an undergraduate.
It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old. Here in Japan, anyway. My qualifications don't mean much. Yet.
You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when all this started. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last.
I know. I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court.
So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. Why his temple?
Uh-oh.
Give me 1 second here. I'm just loading channels here.
Okay.
Perfecto. I'm just trolling for comments at this point.
Yeah.
I apologize for the...
Well, that's fine. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do, and
All right, here we go.
let's go. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That is why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes.
The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too.
Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together.
If only it were that simple.
Oh dear, look at the time. I better get going.
All right, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer.
Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner.
Yep, and there he goes. Straight after that's when it happened. I'm going to click autoplay. So we're doing autoplay. Uh-oh.
Soji, may I have a word?
Uh-oh. I think I screwed up. I think I missed something. Whatever.
Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has personal significance to me, but never mind that for now. Soji. You should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result.
Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before.
I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. All right then, Ryunosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom.
Yes, thanks, Kazuma. This is awkward.
If I may.
Yes, sorry.
You must be the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University.
Ah, Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad.
Soji has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand.
Huh.
As such, I feel you should know.
Know what?
Well, as you've no doubt heard, Soji has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again.
What?
As I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Soji may have chosen not to tell you.
He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered?
Uh-oh.
And I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing?
The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances.
I don't believe it. But I didn't do it. I swear it. I'm not a murderer.
I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be an easy task. No easy task.
Yeah, no easy task. You better get that right.
You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial.
What? Sorry? What do you mean?
Dun dun. You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway.
Huh? But then what should I do?
Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction.
Right, so...
As soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do.
I do? But what will the question be? Surely not, do you accept the accusations brought before you?
Of course not.
Defendant! Court is about to be... Oh. Defendant, court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once.
Okay. Oh, did I screw that up? That's what... It doesn't matter.
It would seem our superstitious discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asoji must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as a defendant, the final decision is yours.
What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving. There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway.
Uh-oh.
This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. What's more, I'll be found guilty of murder.
Uh-oh.
Ugh. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on an unforgettable trial. Oh, it was unforgettable, all right. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. Alex Pulowski, hi!
Hi!
My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial that would decide my destiny.
Thank you so much for liking the stream.
22nd of November, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom number 2. So this is a courtroom. Look.
The Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power.
I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there.
The powers that be have demanded that this be a secret trial.
A secret trial?
A trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend.
What? But why?
It'll become clear in time. But for now, you need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin.
Huh.
The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency.
As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate.
That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself.
Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obliged to ask for final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial?
Huh. This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do... I need to answer quickly. What should I do?
Answer
I do.
Answer I do.
Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will advocate for his defense.
Yes!
What is the meaning of this unruly outburst?
I would like to inform the court that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself.
You'll be... What?
What are you playing at, Ryunosuke?
Professor Mikitoba told me everything. just now, before the trial.
He did what?
He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose.
How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off?
No, it's not that, really. It's just that, well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you...
Yes, I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikitoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial.
Well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel? Really?
Objection!
Objection! Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent, he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san?
Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all.
Love this music, by the way.
Yes, great. In fact, my mind's a complete blank.
I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered.
Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated the most heinous crime indeed.
As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo?
Yes, Your Excellency.
It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken.
Maddie!
Thank you so much for liking the stream.
My competence? What does that mean?
He's questioning your ability to do the job.
Well, can't be questioning it more than I am.
So, let's start with the very simplest of questions.
Oh, yes.
Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case.
Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I'd care to remember. But, wait. So nervous I can't even remember that. What was it again?
Ryunosuke, let me guess. Your mind's going blank?
You know me so well.
All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record.
But I can't even find that.
It's simple. You can access the court record with a press of the R button. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there.
I just have to press the R button for the court record. All right, there's no time to lose.
This is a list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead with R.
Okay.
You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press B to go back.
Well, here's the victim in this case, John H. Wilson. The victim of this case. He was a visiting professor of medicine at Yume University from the British Empire.
So remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record.
I don't know if I'm hesitant to press the minus button here, but let's go.
Now, you better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press X to present. Try it now.
Yes. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson.
Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university.
Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England invited to Yume University 3 years ago. Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at the present our country's most valuable foreign ally, and as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation.
And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been split on our soil.
Spilt
on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yume University, are you not? Murdering a professor for the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor?
I didn't do it.
This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter.
In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime.
So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it?
Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible, all because the victim was an Englishman.
Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. Fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime.
Oh dear, look at the time. I better get going.
All right, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer.
Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner.
Okay. The British Empire. Wow. It's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson.
Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo.
Yes, Your Excellency.
How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death.
Cause of death? Well, obviously, that was,
Ryunosuke, remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence.
By evidence? But how?
Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select present. Do it now.
Well, here's the post-mortem report. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by a loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Male
John
British,
H. Wilson, male British, single
single bullet fired at close range, fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma, no exit wound, bullet did not pass through the body. That's what everybody thinks. What are you talking about, Cannonball? Oh, you wait and see. But here we go. This is the cause of death.
Yes!
Well, according to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma.
Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it?
Sorry, yes, that's right. The post-mortem report.
In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way.
Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later.
This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range.
Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record.
Photographic print of the victim has been entered into the court record. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible.
Very well. I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial.
Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened.
Ugh, this is it then.
I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind.
The professor? You mean Dr. Mikitoba?
Yes, clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me, but that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant.
Ah, of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Soji must not be the defense lawyer in this trial.
He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he?
Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma.
Well, my first piece of advice is rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats.
Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first.
Well,
Evening, gentlemen. Evening, Maddie.
Maddie, how are you? Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Good evening, Maddie.
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. Uh-oh, he's bleeding. Are you all right? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should.
As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago. Understood. Hosonaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident.
Okay. At once, sir.
And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please.
Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. There were few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over. There were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it, too. There's hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery. Bang. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair, and standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes!
Yes. Hold on. Let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
Objection!
Objection! I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur.
But
The next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness. If I may confirm one point, waiter, standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today?
yes, without question.
I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim?
No, there was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student.
I don't know about that shit.
I don't know about that. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around that table?
What's the matter, Ryunosuke?
That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite him at his table.
Really?
And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Let me autoplay it. Well, I can autoplay it, I guess. And the next time I interject...
You go to options, right? You can go to options.
Let's see.
Gameplay.
Reader. Story mode on. Turn this on. So, turn this on to enable story mode in place of autoplay, allowing you to progress through the game automatically without having to
Press any buttons. The answers to questions, presentation of evidence, etc. all handled on your behalf. There you go. So let's see what happens when you push this.
Okay, story mode.
He's going to interject.
I'm going to interject. Yes! Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection! Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all?
But I'm sure of what I saw.
You can push minus to, Osnaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy.
No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. They actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please, have a look if you'd like to.
Let me see. A sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume.
That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone.
Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter.
Thank you, sir.
The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence.
Oh, well...
Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once.
Of course. Here you are.
What? What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now.
Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record.
So, the court has now heard a preface of the case. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant, the only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here.
Well, let's go to the court record real quick, because we love doing this, right?
Right.
Let's examine this. So there's the kitchen, there's the entrance.
Magnifying glass, but you can't...
Can't turn it around just yet. Well, hang on. I think we can do that later.
Yeah. Defendant Naruhodo.
Yes, Your Excellency.
If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I call this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime.
What do you think I should do, Kazuma?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You've said it, Professor Mikatoba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this.
As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face? Is that it?
What?
If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Auchi, please continue with proceedings. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be.
It's Voltage, wherever he is. There he is. Heyo.
Hey, in a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses. Very well. Officer, bring forth the witnesses at once. You almost interrupted me.
I guess.
Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court.
Ha! Yes, sir. The great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Isaiah Nosa, reporting for duty, sir.
Myself, I fine employee as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasate, a humble premises in the 2nd District. Curio Korikuta at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier? What an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day of question. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business.
I can't understand a word that old man is saying.
He's an antique dealer. It sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele.
Right. I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer.
Now, you both witnessed a precise memory of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct?
Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war. Sir! It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir. This man's as impossible to understand as the other. I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said.
So, this is a decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening? The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead.
Yes.
Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable?
If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start.
Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Standing by to report, sir.
Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. Time for a little witness testimony. What the witnesses saw.
I was ingesting a regulation beef steak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man.
Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman.
At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly
I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio.
The cowardly little weasel. Sorry about that.
That's why. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed a vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim.
Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy.
What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day.
But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone.
Is that really true, Ryunosuke?
Yes. All I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I'd said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant, when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it, so I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, bang!
Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was.
There is?
Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses.
Cross-examine?
Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this trial.
Hold it!
What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst?
the defense demands its right to a cross-examination.
Dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic.
Huh? How did he know?
The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out the cross-examination? Objection! The defense is asserting his right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant.
Kazuma's so commanding.
Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. All right. This is where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke.
But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination.
Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements.
How?
You didn't fire the gun, which means what that soldier said has to be a lie.
Well, yes, but
It's just a case of proving it, and the key to doing that is evidence.
right. Evidence.
All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you.
Slaps the desk. All right, then. It's all or nothing.
Cross-examination time. What the witnesses saw.
I was ingesting regulation beef steak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man.
Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman.
At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. A black uniformed varsity cadet fired at an English civilian. And from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Hold on a second.
Wait a minute.
If it was from the back, why is this photograph showing it from the front?
Yes!
Objection.
Well, he says yes, but...
What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting some photographic print in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here.
What nonsense! What could this print possibly tell us that we don't already know?
Well, obviously, I know what I want to say, the words just won't come out of my mouth.
I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom.
Ugh, so frustrating.
Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court.
Kazuma, what?
What are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there is a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Iasanosa.
Yes, sir. What, sir?
The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel.
Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
Yes. But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because...
Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it?
What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again.
Certainly there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa?
Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Got another thing I'm just going to say.
Well,
Nate Blessing, thanks so much for liking the stream.
Welcome.
Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious Le Carnival steak. Sir!
What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Yesanosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. That's absurd.
Sorry, guys.
I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom.
There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing a firearm directly at the victim's back. Yes, but I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor.
And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either? Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor.
Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure. That's important.
Yep, that's very important.
Treasure? Indeed, the Hoya Koban, my prized coin. On each occasion where I visited that restaurant, it is my habit to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Rasate.
In the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you?
On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I proffered my Hoya treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find, I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished. The Kaban vanished? Hunting around under the table, I was, in case mayhap it may have fallen there, and then it happened.
Bang.
You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my abscondent Hoya treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious Hoya Kuba was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness's testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels, it must be to the British. It would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Auchi? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make.
explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
What?
He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he?
Ugh.
Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear?
As clear as clerical glass, Your Excellency.
Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Ido.
It would seem those straps were a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny.
Ido. Attention.
Attention!
Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. Jesus. More witness testimony.
The true culprit.
Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing.
Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in black. That much I myself did see.
Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present.
Indeed. Alone he was, the Englishman dining all by himself. I don't know.
Therefore, no one other than the black uniform cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out.
No.
Nope, that's not right.
These testimonies are certainly compelling.
Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all.
Please, enough of these outbursts already.
But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
Objection! If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies.
Ugh.
It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact.
Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, counsel?
Indeed, of the tables at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident.
Weird.
As can plainly be seen, there is only one place set.
Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else.
Let's take a look at something here. So, okay, well, I guess I can't see the two. Alright, never mind. This doesn't make any sense.
The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. Photographic print of the crime scene photograph, added to the court record.
A bottle of carbonated water and a steak lunch can be seen on the victim's table. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman.
The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well.
But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him.
It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt.
These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takeshi Ouchi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor.
How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule.
Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet.
What?
If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination.
I don't know, Kazuma.
The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick. Understood?
Bruce can be so unbending at times.
Ugh.
Okay. Cross-examination time.
You know what? I'm gonna start pressing. Even when I saw what the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing.
Yes!
What are you talking about? No, it's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun. We have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so.
Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked.
Did you?
Did you see it? Did you see me blink?
How could I?
And yet, it's an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it.
Have what? Teen Shun! The sound of the firearm rang in my ears, and the very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman.
I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antiques dealer witnessed the accused in his most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, Korikuta-san?
Yes, pointing his gun at the foreman he was, that young lad in black. That much I myself did see.
Hold on. Yes, it may be true that I was holding a gun at that point in time, but I've told you already, that's only because I picked it up off the floor.
Well, obviously, as a culprit, that's the only way you could explain it away.
I just finished drinking my coffee, and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. In exactly that moment, bang! A gunshot rang in my ears.
Full of events beyond our control, life is.
Sorry? What do you mean?
In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas conversely, I failed to pick up the Koban from the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Anyway, the fact remains. Myself, I did see you, with pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner.
Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present.
Yes!
You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
Objection! As you have been at pains to point out time and time again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman.
If only there'd been more people dining here at the time. Then someone else would have noticed her.
Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant.
I know. Of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect.
Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone.
Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason.
There was?
This was found in the victim's jacket pocket.
What is that, Counsel?
It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant.
At a clinic. Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question.
Hota Clinic. I wonder where we found that before.
Oh, just
Nope. Uh-oh. Wow, the lady with the whip sure suffered some hair loss. That's no lady, Scott. Why is that guy carrying a baby like he's Master Blaster? No idea, Scott. No idea.
Nobody noticed her? She sounds like the quietest dishwasher of all time. Shut up and take my money.
Jesus. Scott Ryan, ladies and gentlemen, he has entered the building.
he'll be here all day.
Enjoy the veal.
And we have not sorry we didn't notice you at first.
That's okay. I just noticed. Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. And Hoda Clinic. That reminds me of the Hottie Clinic.
19th of November, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident.
So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case.
I wonder, what do you think, Ryunosuke?
Huh? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really.
Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful.
Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be submitted as evidence or not?
Yeah,
Ask for it to be submitted. We know this.
Yes!
If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency.
On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Objection! Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues. I beg your pardon? You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's the most disturbing trend. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record.
Victim's medical report card has been entered into the court record.
That's going to be useful. What we need right now...
Hardy Clinic sounds like Vegas. Well, remember Scott, that creepy guy that kept saying, yes.
What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first.
Right, I hear you.
You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's a day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you've forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Korikuta-san. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself.
Well, okay, I guess I can't present it yet.
Are you not sure?
Well, therefore, no one other than the black uniform cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out.
Excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned some new information now.
Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light.
I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before.
Oh, you mean this?
Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. Just stop rubbing your eye. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail.
How exactly?
You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press the A button and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Use the right stick. Left, right, up, down to rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using left stick, up, down, left, and right, you can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press the A button to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail.
All right, I'll see what I can do. I need to use the right stick and the left stick and the A button to inspect any areas of the evidence that look suspicious. All right, well, let's look at this. Name Mr. John Wilson, Hoda Clinic. It says Hoda Clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics, almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries.
Aren't they all the same?
When I was 5, I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life. I remember, even though I felt awful already, I have to have this hideous injection to my right arm. Never forget it. Never my whole life.
Most people would give their right arm to have had only one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything.
All right, well. It's a dentist. It looks like this medical report card was first issued quite some time ago.
It's probably a record of long-term treatment, that's why. With a family doctor, I imagine.
Well, I can't imagine. Going to a doctor, I mean. As long as I'm alive, I'm never consulting one.
Well, if you were dead, there'd be no point. So you don't like doctors then?
Why would you? They make you drink horrible tasting medicine, they give you painful injections, and then they demand lots of money for you from the privilege, all when you're at your lowest ebb.
You sound like a model patient, with a bad case of stubbornness no less, for which the only cure is very bitter medicine indeed.
Well, let's look at this. We can open it up. Let's have a look.
Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia.
Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out?
It would seem so. Just before the incident, he had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they use laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief.
Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Well, it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain.
Ah, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed.
Well, he couldn't have possibly dined alone then because he couldn't eat. Really?
Sounds like information worth bearing in mind.
Medical report card's information has been updated in the court record. With this new information, meaning of that one particular statement totally changes.
So I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you?
Definitely.
Let's go.
Even if I once saw the precise multiplier resistor, it was almost the same thing. I also want to look at this.
Uh-oh. Well, that's unexpected.
What is?
Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hasanaga.
Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point.
It's not the name that's unexpected, it's his job title.
His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hasanaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. You've got crabs. Maybe we just start arresting anyone with an incessantly itchy crotch. Well, given your history, Scott, that's a whole lot of people. Line them up.
Line him up.
Inspector, what on earth?
Hasanaga, bless you.
Thanks. Thanks. Goes on
I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. If they're wielding it somehow here...
The waiter's business card information has been updated in the court record.
Well, that's useful.
That's weird. All right, anyway, so then we can go to...
Yes, what do you get to
blah, blah, blah.
Indeed, I don't know what's Englishman dining all by himself.
Well, we're definitely going to present this card.
Yes!
Yes! Well, I think,
About what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a liar?
I wish I could. But first and foremost here, I'm the accused.
Ryunosuke, everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it.
Thanks, Kazuma.
I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say.
Huh.
Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking.
All right. And thanks for the advice. Korakuda-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim.
Oh, I see. And I don't see. What of it, boy?
Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up.
Objection! Dear me, dear me. Have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel.
But
Let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant.
but that's,
Remember, Inosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimony to the court has been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all.
for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who decided to...
This medical report card has nothing to do with the case. Uh-oh. Hold up, guys. Oh no, we're back. All right, All right, cool. We didn't drop.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, here we go.
This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that
there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who could possibly have perpetrated the crime.
This medical report card has nothing to do with the case. Do you really believe that?
What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant?
Perhaps because Hoda Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic.
A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted.
What's this now?
And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating.
Wait a minute, guys.
Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
What? No, that can't.
Korakuda-san.
What, boy? What?
I'm closing some extra tabs. As you just heard, when he was killed, sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all.
No.
Additionally, there's more? You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic.
Expertly done, partner. Objection! What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence.
That's precisely my point.
You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table. Objection! Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke?
Yes, most definitely.
So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel.
Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it?
All right. The answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of.
Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been as an yet
unknown third party.
Obviously, it could only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection! You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes. There was, because I saw her.
When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witnesses' testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly.
Kazuma!
Are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them, those two witnesses in the stand.
What? What are you talking about?
We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies,
Obviously, you will be charged with perjury.
Perjury?
And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? No!
Hold it. Hold it. Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting.
Still story.
I was just following orders.
That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us.
Huh? What?
Oh.
What? What did you just say, Kurakuda-san?
Oh, no.
You were just following orders.
Now, hold on, lad. I was, Say you never saw the gentlewoman? When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas?
What?
Objection! What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is it true, you pair?
Just one simple slip of the tongue.
Order! Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this.
Then who's behind this? Who tried to keep your mouth shut?
Make you keep your mouth shut. Well,
That's classified.
So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you?
You wouldn't. This can't be happening.
Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchi had any idea about it.
What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, only a handful of possibilities. Can only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose.
Well, any ideas about who might be behind this?
I do.
If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit.
So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make these witnesses keep their mouths shut.
Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here.
How? How can we possibly...
Remember how we made progress before?
Before?
We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result.
Oh yes, that's right.
Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait! Your Excellency, I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god, I knew nothing! And what does the defense have to say about all this,
Well, Your Excellency? Time to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... Mr. Hosonaga.
Yes!
Well, surely that would be... Satoru
Hosonaga.
Satoru Hosonaga-san. Thank you.
Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier? Objection! Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even the head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man truly were a waiter. What? If he truly were... Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity as proven by this evidence.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything.
Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest.
The front. I beg your pardon?
Or perhaps I should have said the front. Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is.
Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hasnaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession. Oh, the waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau.
What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before?
The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power, absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there to stand.
Huh?
Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene?
Well... Hold it. Hold it. Inspector Hosonaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility.
The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence.
Oh, well...
Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once.
Of course. Here you are.
That's what he was scared of.
That's what he was scared of. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake.
So, you mean to say you really are a detective?
But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course. Your salary must be
Terrible.
Your salary must be terrible.
I was
working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover.
Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents?
That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide.
Very well then, Inspector Hasanaga, but you will elaborate on one point for the court.
Of course, Your Excellency.
We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of his person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you require these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct?
Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable!
As I suspected.
Bang. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair. Beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman.
So the truth comes out.
I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once? It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an English woman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question.
So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case.
But it's not right. Huh.
One possibility does spring to mind.
What do you mean, Kazuma?
Yuma University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain, and I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory, is a young Englishwoman.
What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. Huh? You mean... When I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first.
Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector.
The English woman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Josiah Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of the Yuma University's medical faculty.
What is happening here?
I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation.
Let's check
with the judge. What?
Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
Objection! But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions.
Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes, sir.
you will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency.
At once, Your Excellency.
But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly, so it won't be a problem. Nothing will get in my way.
Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student, Giselle Brett, to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening.
There we go. To be continued.
And it's been an hour and
Hour and a
34
half.
minutes.
Uh-oh. Buddy! Big Willie Dubs is in the house.
What is up, my good man? Thank you so much for joining us.
We will save our current progress and we'll just go back into the saved game data. We'll go to number 2. We will save in this slot. What do you think, Package? You think we can keep going? Because
Well,
it's an hour and a half, but we only have a 2-hour time limit here, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to take more than half an hour to get through the rest of this trial.
all right, so maybe we should just cut it off.
Why don't we go through the recess part, and when we get back to court, we'll save it again. How about that?
Okay, let's try
Let's
that.
do that.
Let's try that.
22nd of November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant Antechamber number 5.
Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb.
My heart was in my mouth the entire time.
It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there, you were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer.
Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again.
Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain. Is she?
That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along.
Yes, you have, haven't you?
I might not be overly confident in the courtroom. My powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of.
Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman, thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that?
No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. And on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up, bang! I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen.
Fast thinking by the detective. He apprehended this suspect without a moment's delay.
Yes, because I was shut in the pantry. I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area.
There you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikitoba.
Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say.
Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial.
Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so, which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled.
Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway.
What are you saying, Kazuma?
So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way.
Kazuma!
Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man.
To me?
Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case.
Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim?
Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him.
Oh, I see.
I didn't know that before.
Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible.
But let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide.
Huh?
Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Now then, I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need.
Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama.
Defendant Naruto, court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once.
It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know what's hit them.
Kazuma,
What?
thank you. Really.
What for?
Well, if you hadn't said you believe me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already been found guilty by now.
Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend.
Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. All right then, I'll save the thank yous for after the trial.
You can treat me to one of those suyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. I think we can still do it. Give us 20 minutes.
22nd of November, 12:09 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom number 2. Actually, hold on. We're going to need to take a quick break here. But why don't we go ahead and just take a brief intermission and just say hi to our peeps here while I take a break of my own. So I will be right back. Package, why don't you try doing some entertainment or something?
Yeah, sure. Good idea. So as my esteemed partner in crime and my brother steps away from the booth, even as we speak, yes, we have gone a little over 2 hours before. In fact, last week we went over about damn near 3 hours just to finish out the rest of Trials and Tribulations and the rest of the Bridge to the Turnabout case, which, by the way, was arguably the best of the entire series, no doubt. And if you've watched my video, if you watched our video from last week after the fact, you will notice that my performance with the breakdown. Careful, spoilers, those who haven't played the games, but for those who have, I put every ounce of effort into that breakdown to make it look good. And I gotta say, I couldn't be more proud of it. But true story. My brother was driving home from training. He was actually listening to the stream on his way to training and on his way back home. And he tells me that the final segment, for those who have played the games, Iris's Confession, those who have watched the video after the fact, was the scene where my brother underestimated me as a voice actor. Yeah, you heard me. My own brother, who would probably be a pretty harsh critic, he actually said that he underestimated me as a voice actor. He may have kind of teared up a couple of times. And to me, I'm humbled. I mean, I'm humbled to have my work acknowledged, obviously from my own brother, no doubt about it. But I'm pretty sure there are some other guys that appreciate my acting skills, and this was just one of those things that I've always wanted to do, was voice act. Ever since I was this young guy in college, playing games like Paper Mario or The 1,000-Year Door, and just reading text and acting it out like as if the character itself is speaking. And that's when the idea popped up, and lo and behold, last year was the start of our endeavor. Of course, you can check the playlists on the Steel Twins Gaming's YouTube channel under voice acting. You will take a look at all of the projects that are listed in this series. And as my esteemed brother's coming down, Well, what is he? Well, he's gonna. He looks like he's gonna do some little clothes washing. So once again, thanks to my peeps, Alex Polowski and Maddie Gazomki. Oh, Will, I'm having connection issues being here at work. What's up, Annie? Where'd Alex go? Well, Alex went to go get his laundry, not to mention go to the bathroom. But yeah, he's as of right now, he's sorting out his laundry, like his workout gear and his gi for jiu-jitsu. But connection issues, boy. Check your internet. I don't know if there's any problem with it in your area or what. I assure you, I don't think there's any problem with our stream. I'll have to double check with the YouTube video after the fact. But yeah, he double checked the stream and saying that there are no real problems. Everything's going smoothly as butter. There he is, Will. He's back. Yeah, I was just explaining to the crowd that you underestimated me as a voice actor in that one scene.
Absolutely. Yeah, that last scene in the bridge to the turnabout, he was absolutely insane.
Laundry.
Well, because I have a jiu-jitsu class tomorrow, and I had to be sure I washed my gi and everything. So,
yeah, you wouldn't want to come in a gym with smelly clothing now, would you?
No, you do not want to desecrate the gym doing that. Especially not my gym. Bridge to the Turnabout was this man's finest hour as a voice actor, and really exhibited emotions that even I didn't think I was capable of having. So, let me just go ahead and resize the chat here. Well, that kind of sucks. I wonder if there's a way to elongate it. Properties.
Let's see.
Okay, I gotcha. How about the height? 1,000. About 1,200.
It's happening, guys.
No, that's just that's 1,200. Properties. So about 1,500.
Yeah, okay, 1,500. Okay.
That's perfect.
There we go.
Just move it over a little bit, and there you go.
All right.
A little hard to read.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to tweak this as I go along, but I think we're just about ready, folks, to get back to live action. So let's have at it. 22nd of November, 12:09 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, courtroom number 2.
Let's go.
We'll put this way up here. Let's go.
The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aoji, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry.
Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders?
Flounders, perhaps? Flounders? No, I mean, literally, the game didn't put the L in there. That's okay. Again, terribly sorry.
If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up! Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing! Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in! By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we can become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder, too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all.
Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Josiah Brett.
Yes. Your Excellency!
Okay, here we go. Well, would you get a load of that get-up? What the hell is that hat?
He is looking at you, kiddo.
Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land.
Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussions take place without tea.
Is that true?
No idea.
So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at La Cannonball. My true...
Yes, we know all about you already.
Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first.
Is that true?
No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of.
Oh, yes. I think I did, didn't I?
Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking.
Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please.
Josiah Brett.
I don't know what she said.
Yeah, we can't read the English.
We can't read the English. Sorry.
Ironically.
I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what?
The lady says her name is Josiah Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in Yumei University's medical faculty.
Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the notes and tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song.
As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough.
She's speaking English. Yes, I agree. You obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it?
Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke.
The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago at a restaurant called the Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct?
She says yes. This could take some time.
So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese?
She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She said that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately.
Interesting. Well, you're the one who engineered her escape.
I was just following special orders from the Bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps?
Apparently, it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight.
Do you mean to say...
Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood.
Order! Order in court!
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement.
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is.
Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described.
Witness testimony.
testimony. Frightening and sorrowful sight.
I
had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
This is a condemning testimony indeed.
Hold it! No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection! Quiet, you filthy wretch! Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard! And look at this snow-white angel! I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe.
You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you've goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn.
But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go.
The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however.
Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there was nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to.
And until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden the weapon can be shown, this is moot.
There are no pockets on my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. It's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Pervert.
Perv. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke.
But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day.
You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart.
She's got a smile on her face.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
Something fizzed in my ears right now. I don't know what it was. Cross-examination time. Let's get it done. You can press the story button now. See what happens.
I had arranged to meet for slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. Professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only.
Yes!
Beef steak. Yes! He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at Hoda Clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering.
Was Miss Brett aware of that fact?
It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett?
I don't know about that.
That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left at the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left.
Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant land, an island on the far side of the world, and be abroad in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all?
That's right. Other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes. The professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water.
What do you think, Rinosuke, about the witness's last statement?
It's very meaningful. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case.
Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing,
The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
A sidestep, counsel.
Very well. Miss Brett, kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony.
Gladly, she said.
That was
Brilliant, Cosima. I'm going to remember that one.
Which one?
The significance will become apparent when the time is right. Could really use that phrase.
I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Rinosuke.
I ordered a beefsteak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water.
Well, you can't drink, right?
Nope.
Yes!
Well, there's only one glass there. That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print.
I think you can push that now.
Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd. Very odd.
Dear me, what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself.
Rinosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you?
Well, obviously, it's the cheers.
Cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1.
You're quite right, Counsel. There's only one glass pictured here.
Objection! Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over mutiny?
Minutiae.
Minutiae?
Thanks, bro.
What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Objection!
Minesh, you say?
Minutiae.
Minutiae, thank you. Minutiae, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence?
Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table.
It's Inspector, what did the lady say?
It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table.
What?
It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying.
Good gracious.
Sorry.
Yeah, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or two in a state of disarray?
That's absurd.
Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief?
What? No. This can't be put down to mischief.
I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene.
我那点直接等人去等同事请人来怎样？
It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying.
A handbag, you say?
Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case.
Of course it does, you dumbass.
This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end, it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement?
Fuck no, we're not.
Nope.
Well, I don't know, really.
If you want to pursue this matter further, you're gonna need to show that it has some deeper significance.
Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance here, it's the handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun.
You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't seriously be suggesting.
Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag.
No!
Order! Order! Order!
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Auchi?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose a real woman behind the mask.
Do you think so, Kazuma? Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly, you have no faith in the police. Huh? As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print.
Ah, the glass. It's
Yep,
in the
glass.
handbag.
And it's see-through. This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting.
wait a
Yep, I noticed it too. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag.
Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside.
That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment.
So the contents are clearly visible.
Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ah! As you can see, there was nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruto-san. What?
Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once.
Certainly, Your Excellency. Photograph of the handbag has been entered in the court record.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel.
Ugh.
The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed. And there's only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
Nope. It's not over yet. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma?
I'm sorry, Ryunosuke.
Huh?
Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue.
What? You mean this is it?
I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell.
This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma.
What?
Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around?
You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest, which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue.
Hang on.
Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we will be able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little...
Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you...
Hold it! Wait! Your Excellency!
Ryunosuke!
I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
Objection! This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the court.
Yes!
Hold it! Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection! This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
Oh yes there is, it's not the handbag.
You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I
understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
Ha! My thoughts, exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it.
Very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
Huh.
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded.
It's right here.
Yes!
Right here. Look at this. Here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist.
That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Objection! Dear me, I was pondering what new pitfall you would come out with. A burn, you say? On the victim's wrist? Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark. You're right. Huh?
Go on, Inspector.
The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea where the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by...
Wrong dude.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Ouchie points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn.
Huh.
你就話佢就呢時就即講呢神難難嘅。
Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, and hope that I might uncover something useful.
Yes, you're right.
I am?
If we could just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again.
Huh.
Just give up, counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I'm afraid that without evidence, I cannot allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture.
But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it?
I would, yes.
To tell the truth, I had noticed that burn, but as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the collar draining from Miss Brett's face.
Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case.
It's on one of the stakes
Yep,
plates.
I know exactly, yep. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means.
So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial.
Okay, so I'm thinking,
Yes.
Yep, that's the one. Okay, cool.
What's this, counsel? Yet another print?
Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really will be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us. We may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection! You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
This little guy right
This
here.
little dude right here.
Yes!
The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on.
The plate.
Your Excellency, are you all right?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnaval. Ah. This emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape.
Rinosuke, you genius.
You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection! But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
Objection! Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim.
thanks.
Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hasanaga?
I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster. Certainly.
But,
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And, although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. The plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade. A burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds.
It's inconceivable that the victim would have let out a scream of pain then.
I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnaval, I can testify to that without hesitation.
but you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that.
And yet Inspector Hasanaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day or any day before it.
That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either.
What are you suggesting?
Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day,
That would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel.
and the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Well, yes, I suppose.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream?
I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think?
Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation that I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from in one particular situation.
Counsel, are you suggesting?
Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Already?
Dead?
Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness! Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student. But clearly, he has no grasp of the facts. Objection! No, Prosecutor Algie. It's you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it is true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it.
Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But, Your Excellency...
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. I think Miss Brett may be about to speak.
Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Whoa!
Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all.
But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking your vulgar tones as much as possible. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicate with you all on your own level.
Well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this. This lavish consideration you are so graciously afford us.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Reinosuke. Okay, spill the beans, lady. Witness testimony. The victim's death.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you.
Easy does it.
I hope that it's the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone.
Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady.
Oh my God.
And it is very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant.
I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today.
The Minister of Justice?
May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
Huh? Thanks. Was that a prayer then?
Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much.
I'm sure I don't need to remind your counsel that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
Then you may proceed with the cross-examination.
I got a feeling we're a long way from Kansas here, buddy. Long way from
You
home.
can do the story now.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the most post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides a gunshot. There's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's superior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes!
Yes.
Inferior? What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Quite right. The carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident.
Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Hang on. It doesn't even occur to you naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene.
Well, it's not telling you to do it yet. You just it's going to tell you an instruction, and then when he does it again, then you can pursue.
I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand?
Killer blow. Ladies just fumbles, but she is beautiful. Amazing.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense.
I very much doubt that.
Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right.
What do you think, Rinosuke?
I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information.
Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over.
But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Chink. Kazuma,
What, Rinosuke?
there is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me.
Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett?
Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosanaga.
The detective?
Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. It might present an opening, maybe.
All right, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time.
If you think so, but
This time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective.
all right then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again.
All right, we don't need to repeat testimony, so let's just keep going. Now press.
Yes!
Hold it. Inferior, what do you mean by that?
In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at the crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident.
Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may
Be lost. Okay, now keep going.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why?
Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity.
What do you mean?
When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down.
You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts.
It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought.
Sorry? Pursue?
I'll explain how to do it now, Rinosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker.
What marker?
At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who is the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with left and right on the pad, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with the A button. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people in the stand, take a good look around.
All right then, so first I should move the marker across with the direction buttons and focus on the detective. And pursue him with the A button and see what's on his mind. Here we go.
Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost.
Excuse me. Ah, what's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. And he was lost in his thoughts. Deeply.
It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say.
If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
Objection! What is the meaning of this? It's a delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately.
Oh, is that how it works?
Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness.
Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case.
Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes?
do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett?
Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Crime scene thief?
Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touch a nerve there.
Take this, for example. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it.
I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept a glass bottle of water as evidence.
Carbonated water bottle has been entered into the court record.
Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle.
What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question.
Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor.
Alright, so this is the same thing, so keep going. Next one.
Probably present the
It's-
bottle. at
Yep,
this
the
point.
bottle right there.
Yes!
What is this? The bottle of water?
Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison?
On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? What is it?
Order! Order! Order!
And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Giselle Brett, it was you!
Objection!
Objection! This is outrageous! To suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence? You little rookie imbecile! Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only decided in a court of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
If I may,
I will silence you forever for this disgraceful attack on...
it is you who should be silent.
Of course. Dear lady.
Where did that come from? She just snapped.
I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not.
Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents.
And? What did you find, Inspector?
I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency.
What? Are you sure?
The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No!
I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you.
But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours.
I was so sure.
This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned.
Thank you, Counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, The accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit.
Done for.
The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no. I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to the court at this point?
Kazuma?
I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more.
Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Oh,
Please, wait.
Isn't that...
what is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikitoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense.
Nakatoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth.
Oh, we're not even.
We're not done, but we got to tap out here.
Yeah, we got to cut it from here. We'll have to come back next week for the conclusion of this thrilling trial. Holy smoke! Well, folks, what do you think so far? We'll save them this slot, and then we'll just just bug on out of here. Hit home, and then just do that.
Okay, so folks, obviously we took a little too long, but only 46 minutes, so I'm not terribly worried about it. So let's go ahead and go back to intermission and show you our lovely faces again. So thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. Those that stayed throughout the whole proceeding, we could not do this without you. And tune in next week, next Wednesday, for the thrilling conclusion to the trial of the Great Adventure. What are we going to do to nail this case shut?
Well, only one thing left to do, Cannonball.
That's right. I'm the Cannonball Alex Steele.
I am the Package Angel Steel.
We are the Steel Brothers, and we are